This Monday marks a somber night for Jews around the world. It is the anniversary of Kristallnacht, or the Night of Broken Glass. That's the night when the Nazi Party organized an attack on the Jewish community in Munich in 1938, destroying homes, looting businesses, and rounding up thousands of residents that were eventually sent to ghettos and to concentration camps and later extermination camps. A new documentary follows the story of a man by the name of James Grover McDonald, who, as chairman of the Foreign Policy Association, interviewed Adolf Hitler in 1933 and learned of the dictator's plan to rid Europe of its Jewish population.
Hitler basically tells McDonald that everybody would love to get rid of the Jews. He will show them how to get rid of the Jews, and he makes a physical reference that he will wring their necks. And so this is, I think, the single most important moment in the diary.
McDonald made it his mission to warn the world of Hitler's intentions, but few listened. His efforts to prevent the Holocaust have been mostly lost to history, but in her new documentary, A Voice Among the Silent, The Legacy of James G. McDonald, filmmaker Shuli Eshel shines a light on McDonald's heroic struggle to save the Jews, and she joins me now. So what moved you to make the film about this man?
The driving force behind all my documentaries is my feminist consciousness, and I identified with McDonald, who believed in justice and equal human treatment of all human beings wherever they are, regardless of their religion, race, ethnicity, and nationality, and I would add gender in the 21st century.
Well, he was truly a heroic man, and he made it his mission. He called it his irresistible call to try to save the Jews and warn the world about him. Why don't we know more about this man already?
Well, McDonald was lost to history until his diaries were discovered in 2003 in a basement, and the woman who discovered it was the daughter of the ghostwriter that McDonald wanted to write his memoirs, and she brought it into the U.S. Holocaust Museum, and once they saw the missing pages of the diaries, they were flabbergasted, and they obviously got a lot of information about that period that was not known. And McDonald's, his meticulous diaries really added a lot of knowledge about what America and the world knew or didn't know about the Holocaust.
Well, you know, what America and the world knew was a lot, because he was telling America and the world, but they didn't listen. World leaders didn't listen, including FDR. Why?
Well, I think that the meeting with Hitler in 1933 really changed McDonald's life. From that moment onwards, he left his cushy position in New York as the head of the Foreign Policy Association and became the League of Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, and did everything he could to alert the leaders of the free world, including FDR, Franklin Roosevelt, President of the United States, the Pope Pius XII, and all the leaders of the world of the looming Holocaust that he foresaw. But very few people listened because there was a lot of anti-Semitism and indifference, and they were not open to hearing what was really going to happen.
Is that right? I mean, was it anti-Semitism? Was Hitler in some sense right that some of these people said, go to it?
Well, a lot of people in the State Department were not very favorable to what McDonald was saying, and he met with President Roosevelt 3 weeks after he met with Hitler and told him what Hitler's plans was, and that was to get rid of the Jews. And therefore, I really believe that this documentary that has never been told before is a must-see by everybody who is interested in history and knowing the truth about what happened before the Holocaust.
Yeah, FDR doesn't come off well in your documentary. What's your take on him after you did this documentary? How does it compare to what you thought about him before?
Right. Well, FDR, Franklin Roosevelt, I did not think did a lot to save the Jews of Europe. McDonald tried to get $10,000 to the High Commission when he was in the League of Nations, and he didn't get those 10,000. And later on, when he was in 1938, when he was selected as the chairman of the President's Advisory Committee, he really didn't get a lot of power or money or anything to relocate Jews and others who were fleeing Nazi Germany. So FDR proves again and again the truth about, based on McDonald's diaries, of course, it tells us what really what FDR did, and it's very apparent that he didn't do very much to save the Jews of Europe.
So what lessons should we take from McDonald's experience and his example today in 2015?
Well, I think the fact that McDonald spoke up when others were silent is very important. And I think the lesson that we can all learn from him is that we have to speak up when we are confronted with evil. And we have to do something about it and not be indifferent and quiet and silent. And McDonald proved it throughout the documentary, as you saw. He was never deterred. He was always trying to find safe havens for Jewish refugees fleeing Germany. And then ultimately he became the first U.S. ambassador to Israel. He was appointed by President Truman. So I think that's a coup as far as the ending of this story. But I think that young people and everyone who is seeking the truth and wants to avoid another genocide like Rwanda, like the current situation of the refugees fleeing Syria, this is very relevant to learn that you have to speak up and you have to do something about it to help refugees fleeing genocide.
Well, Shuli, thank you so much, and thank you for your film.
Thank you very much for having me.
You can watch the documentary, A Voice Among the Silent, The Legacy of James G. McDonald, Sunday, November 8th at 11 p.m., and again on Thursday, November 12th at 10:35 p.m. on 13, or you can visit 13.org for more information.